Okay, recording this video on Monday, the 3rd of May 2021. Just gone 5:23 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So this video, we're going to do a quick rip around the charts because I didn't get to a midweek chart review last week. And that is because we were traveling for a day. Just decided to take a trip down here to the big island of Hawaii. Never been here. For all the years I've been coming to Hawaii. Never been to the Big Island, so this is kind of interesting to kind of check it out. And unfortunately, I'm missing a decent swell that's happening in Kauai at the moment, so darn. But anyway, it's interesting to be here and to check it out. While I'm talking non-chart stuff, just a little service announcement. Apologies to some of the Better Indicator subscribers if you have not been able to log into the site to kind of check out videos and so on. All the indicators are working fine, but people are having problems logging into the site. We're aware of the problems. We made some changes to the website about a week ago, and I think that's what's kind of caused the problem, but we haven't got to the bottom of it yet. So my only suggestion at the moment is if you can clear your caches on your website browser, that might help you to be able to kind of log in again. Otherwise, just to know we are on it, and as soon as we get a fix, we will let you know. All right, so let's talk charts. Going to rip through kind of the usual charts. Most of these are tick bar charts, and most of the tick bar settings equate to about a 1 hour chart. And the last video I did was on Bitcoin, and we were talking about the low in Bitcoin below $50, whether we were going to get bounce, and we certainly did. So this is the usual setup with the indicators, the better indicators, left and right hand side. Left hand side, everything to do with volume, better momentum, better pro-am. Remember, better pro-am is using the average trade size to identify professional and amateur activity. Professional bars are painted in blue. Pay a lot of attention to those. And on the right-hand side, better sine wave here, this little plate of spaghetti below the price bars. And that calculates the cyclical energy in 3 different time frames that allows us to calculate trending activity. The background is printed red, or this kind of dark red, when both the volume and the price indicators are going up. The background is printed in grey when the volume and the price indicators are both going down. So last video I had talked about the sell-off in Bitcoin, and it kind of took us down into the 47s kind of down here, and I was back interested at 49, picked up some more at 49, very happy with that, and we had a nice bounce. So during that bounce, I said we would run into a pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame, and this is how that played out. So we had our bounce, we had a little bit of resistance here when we got the resistance on the highest time frame come in here. That's that very thick line, and then it played out to a pullback to end of trend signal here, but it's incredibly shallow. You know, the selling down here was really kind of muted. We end up putting in that pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame there. So that whole downtrend move has now played itself out. We bottomed down here. We tested with a very shallow test, and we've kind of come back up to 57s. And you can see here on that little retrace, here it was the amateurs got a little bit too excited, and then when we had this pushback down, there are the professionals step in, pick it up at 52, bang, we've rallied from there. But 57, 58, having a little bit of trouble getting through, but no blue professional bars at the highs. So that's important. That means that there's no profit taking kind of going on there. On this particular chart, BTC USD, we do have this gap there, but that's just because of the way this chart is kind of constructed. When you look at 24-hour charts, that gap doesn't exist. So I wouldn't say that, you know, a gap fill necessarily, or kind of coming up to that, is particularly noteworthy. It's just because, as I've mentioned before, there's all kinds of different ways of plotting Bitcoin. None of them is ideal, and I don't, you know, pay much attention to that particular gap. But anyway, no blue professional bars. We're still in an uptrend. No exhaustion bars. Nothing like that. We've just kind of held steady for a while at 57, 58. And that is because all of the activity has gone into Ethereum. And here is the Ethereum chart. Ethereum today, last couple of days, going crazy. We're up here at $3,400. And what I find interesting on this chart, when you look at the trendy activity, we had a pullback to end of trend, bit of exhaustion, bearish divergence, but no weakness, no white bars, no supports being stopped at all. And we're above resistance on the daily chart here. So this has got to play pullback to end of trend. on this chart. So there's still, well, we've still got to go pull back end of trend on the daily chart, and then because we're above resistance on the intermediate and the highest time frame resistance here, we got to go pull back to end of trends on those time frames, and that's why I'm a super long-term kind of holder of cryptos. So that's the story on Bitcoin. Let's talk about dollar index and the euro. Dollar index is trying to bottom, but it is not time yet for the dollar index. So here's the 500 tip bar chart of the dollar index. It's not super heavily traded. All the other currencies on the futures forex charts are far more heavily traded with the euro and the Japanese yen. So for example, on the euro chart, we use a 4400 tip bar chart to equate to about an hour's activity. On the dollar index, it's only a 500 tip bar chart. But on this chart, yes, we've had exhaustion sells, some blue professional bars, a nice bullish divergence pattern kind of come in here, break into some strength, but we still are below support on the highest time frame, so we have to go pull back to end of trend on the highest time frame. So we've still got to see some more weakness on the dollar index before it's all bottomed and starts to reverse. And you can see that means that the euro and the Japanese yen are not done on the upside. And you can see here the euro chart, the last pushes that we've had up have all been led by the amateurs. So we've got these Rambo patterns into this high, Rambo patterns into this high, Rambo patterns into this high. It's not over, but when it's led by the amateurs, we tend to get weakness after that. And we had a nasty little kind of retrace here in that little pop in the dollar index. I think that was on Friday. But last couple of days activity, we see blue professional bars have stepped in here, Rambo pattern. So it's a Rambo to Rambo channel. So they were buying the breakout in the euro here, got wrong-footed, and now they were either taken out on their stops, so they decided to go short at that point, and it's kind of reversed and gone the other way. Let me just bump that up so you can see there's that Rambo pattern there. So on the euro chart, we've got to make support to resistance on the highest time frame. When these thick lines kind of come together, we will still kind of press up, and that will give us time to put in an exhaustion buy, a bearish divergence, blue professional bars on the highs and so on, everything that kind of tops us up. But we're not there on the euro. And on the Japanese yen, yeah, quite weak over the last few days, but blue professional bars kind of stepped in here. We've got support on the highest time frame, and we just need to bust above this 91,865 level that'll get us in some strength and run this thing for a support to resistance on the Japanese yen. We didn't have exhaustion buy patterns at those highs. We had a bunch of blue professional bars here and here. Yeah, it's unclear whether we might test down, put in some more blue professional bars on Japanese yen, but that has not topped out properly in terms of the Japanese yen. So I'll be interested to see if that kind of breaks this level and tests up into these highs. So dollar index, we're looking to make a bottom, but it's not yet, and so we're still playing out strength in these other currencies. Aussie dollar, possibly going to break through 78,200 as well, because we've had blue professional bars kind of step in at these lows here. We've got a big exhaustion pattern there. That's kind of at the wrong place in order to top a market out. Usually it'd be at new highs where we're doing that. So we could be busting up through here into some strength. And we've got support on the highest time frame. On the intermediate time frame, we just need to break this resistance, and that will break us into another trend move on the Aussie dollar to kind of go up. It's been difficult to trade that kind of sequence here because these are big swings in the Aussie dollar. But if you look, that's the kind of thing we'd be looking for at top. Blue professional bars into kind of new highs, exhaustion buys, and then we fall off. Exhaustion sell, blue professional bars at lows, new lows kind of down here with bottom patterns. So when it's happening mid-sequence like this, that could be getting the move going until we kind of break above this 78.50 kind of level up here, and we see more kind of blue professional bars. So that's actually kind of interesting to bust us out of this channel on the Aussie dollar. So all of those are saying, continued weakness in dollar index for the time being and strength in these other currencies. All right, let's talk gold and silver, because I have not found good setups in gold and silver lately, and I missed this whole move from 1680, and that was because this thing bottomed with a Rambo pattern and exhaustion selling, and that's an unstable move, and we've rallied from there. But the first time that the professionals were really active kind of supporting this move was when we had this retrace here. The professionals kind of stepped in on that retrace, and I'm just wondering if they're just buying a bunch here as a kind of gathering pattern before breaking above 1800 into a strong move. We certainly have supports on the highest time frame here, and we're playing pullback to end of trend. I just wonder where that's going to go, whether this is just going to run pullback end of trend, bust above those 1800 kind of levels, and that shows those professionals were just gaming it up in order to kind of move it down. I don't know, gold I found tricky on this sequence to trade. Silver on this move a little bit better because we've had blue professional bars kind of step in here at 26. Everything's holding, red bars here showing strength, and we're busting up above here. We're still in an uptrend. We've still got to go pull back to end of trend. So yeah, looks like we've still got continued strength in silver until we get another kind of blow-off move with blue professional bars. But I'm a little late into this. If I was interested, I should have stepped in at 26. That was a nice little kind of area where the professionals held it. As soon as we break above the highs of that sequence, that was a good kind of entry there. Crude, I said we were not over. We had some nasty weakness. You can't see it on the stick bar chart because it happened kind of off here on the left. But we sold off, and you can see it 58s. Professionals picked it up. And we haven't had exhaustion by bearish divergence kind of patterns up here. And we're still in a confirmed uptrend. I wonder if we're going to break through this 65 level and really get this thing going. Because, we got rid of all the sellers at this point with exhaustion selling bullish divergence. Based here at 61, 62, broke out of that. We got to go see big readings on the upside before this thing is all over. So continued strength on crude is likely. I'm playing this complex with natural gas. I been long natural gas into this move. Top ticked it up here. I forget what my number was, but I took profits here. Just been waiting to see what happens next, and I'm back in on natural gas because no exhaustion buy patterns at these highs. Yeah, there were some blue professional bars, but on this retrace here, again, we got rid of a bunch of sellers at that point. Blue professional bars kind of step in. All we need to do is break above, 3 is significant kind of number, and that will be really interesting for a continuation of this uptrend. So that's what I'm playing at the moment. Copper, we had an extraordinary move up to 455 kind of up here with exhaustion by bearish divergence and Rambo patterns up there. So all of a sudden that's kind of topped out. But this thing isn't over until we see pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame. You can see we're above resistance on this highest time frame. These two lines have to come back down, kind of come together, and we'll put in a final push of a pullback to end of trend kind of move. So just have to wait on copper for a reversal trade. So last couple of markets. So we're going to talk about 10-year, and then we'll talk about equities. 10-year here, you can see here we're in a little bit of an uptrend. We kind of topped out with exhaustion buy, a whole bunch of blue professional bars, and we kind of fell off from there. But we had exhaustion sell, flush patterns, Rambo kind of down here, and a sequence of blue professional bars kind of stepped in here. This exhaustion buy is kind of mid congestion area, so that means that's getting the move going. And we've broken into a confirmed uptrend. We got support to resistance to play out on this highest time frame. Everything's red in terms of the trending activity. So, 10-year bonds, we could be going up and kind of testing above those highs that we just recently made. And that'll be interesting because that might come with a little bit of a sell-off in equities. I'm not going to show you the 4500 tip bar chart yet. I'm going to show you the 15-minute chart first. And just because this thing has now finally run its course, you can see the background's all been red since, what is this, March, that we had this run up in equities. And it's been red bars all the way up. Strong trends, yeah, various points. We have end of trends, but all the end of trends mean is that we just temporarily run out of steam, and we're just going to have a little bit of a congestion zone from there. But then we keep on pumping higher, and we have to ripple through all of these end of trends. So we put in some pullback to end of trends on the lowest time frame, on the intermediate time frame, pullback to end of trend, and we finally put in a pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame. So in terms of trendy activity on the 15-minute chart, we're kind of exhausted, and with today's activity, we have put in some weakness here. So you can see all the bars have kind of come up white, which just shows we're starting to break resistances. Sorry, breaks supports, showing that the market is a little bit weak, and we're underneath this resistance on the intermediate time frame. So is it time to have some weakness in equities, because there's been nothing for months and months? So 4500 tip bar chart. I just put in these are the day and night session kind of lines in here just to get a good sense of it, because in the last 4 or 5 days we've really not gone anywhere. Been really tight ranges, 22 points and stuff like that, which is low. I mean, historically that's a decent range, but considering the activity in the last year and a half, it's been really, really poor. So this last kind of move up, we had Rambo patterns at the highs, and then when we tested into there, blue professional bars coming at 42.05s. So they were selling it down at that point. They caught it here on Friday at the end of the day and pushed it back up into Rambo patterns. Exhaustion buy, bearish divergence with today's high made at the beginning of the day, 4200. Couldn't get through it, and we've kind of come back down. If we come through this 4170 level with overnight activity, tomorrow's activity, that would break us into kind of a downtrend. You can see in terms of price activity, it's weak with white bars, so the trending system is showing kind of weakness. We've got resistance on the highest time frame. Yeah, maybe some point we'll have support in the highest time frame. But we've got 2 supports on the lowest time frame and the intermediate time frame here on this chart. So I'm looking at those levels really closely for a breakthrough there into some nasty selling. And then if it comes into 70, what they've done here at 70 is push the market up. And this is, I look at this as like killing fields. It's the kill zone where they're dumping throughout all of Monday, because they've forced the market up. Amateurs have kind of chased it overnight and into those highs. They've been kind of dumping all day. Let's see if we get through this 4170 level kind of overnight, first thing tomorrow, this weakness kind of continues down. That for me will be quite important. Also because it comes, as we're seeing all this weakness on the 15-minute chart, and we've run out this kind of trending move on the 15-minute chart. So wait and see. Next couple of days, this activity could be interesting. Anyway, so I hope your trading is going well, and looking forward to tomorrow's trade.